on, Carla. You have to wake up, yelled Mama as she forced Carla out of bed. Now I'm making you get up if it's the last thing I do. Immediately, Carla begged. Come on, Mom, it's summer. Let me sleep in.
Louder.
Carla's mom tried to pry her out of bed. It's your first day of summer school and the bus will be here soon, replied her mother as she opened the blinds. A bus? Called Carla excitedly as she hopped out of bed. Carla's house was outside the city of Dallas and was in the middle of nowhere. Carla always was excited when she got to ride something fun like a bus. Yes, remember your new summer school is in Dallas, replied Carla's mom as she walked into the kitchen. What's for breakfast? Asked Carla as she stared hungrily towards the kitchen. It's a surprise, said Mama. After Carla got dressed, she went into the kitchen and smelled something that was breathtaking, chocolate chip pancakes. Later, Carla hopped on the bus, less excited now. Everyone on the bus looked very gloomy and looked half asleep. When she got to her new summer school, lots of kids were waiting outside the school. When the bell rang, all the kids rushed inside. The school was atrocious. It looks like it hasn't been swept in years, exclaimed Carla to her best friend Via, as she retold the gloomy faces on the bus. At least you got to take a bus, said Via grumpily. The whole day went by slowly and was as boring as watching paint dry, but soon it was time to go on the bus again. Carla stared at the open window of the bus, her untamed orange hair blowing in the breeze. Earlier in the bus ride, she had peeked out the window. It was so embarrassing. When Carla got home, her mother burst out the door and embraced her in a hug that seemed to swallow up the universe around them. How was your first day of school? Boomed her mother. The words hit Carla like lightning on a building. Bad. I got sick, sobbed Carla. Her mother pushed her hair out of her face. It's okay, sweetie, sang her mother softly as she rubbed Carla's back. Carla flopped on the couch and pushed her face into a soft yellow pillow. Not much later, Carla decided a little walk in the woods by her house might make her feel better. Beautiful, thought Carla as she walked through the damp woods. Her dad would always tell Carla the names of all the plants and animals, until last year when he died in a car accident. But the woods always reminded her of him. Soon, Carla was out of breath. But I've only been walking for a few minutes, Carla thought to herself. Soon she could barely breathe. Carla sat on a rotten log and screamed for help. Her lungs burned and her heart was beating at an incredibly fast pace. But she kept screaming. Her screams only came to a faint whisper in the quiet woods. Okay, what is wrong with this one? Just when Carla thought for sure she would die, two strong hands scooped her up. Beep, 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 beep. That was the sound that had kept Carla awake all night long. She was in the hospital and was diagnosed with a disease called tuberculosis. It has lots of different symptoms that include coughing, pain in breathing, coughing up blood, and chest pain, explained Dr. Demond as... exclaimed Dr. Demond. Carla's face scrunched up as the nurse put an IV in her hand. This feels so weird, thought Carla to herself. The next day, Via came into the hospital to visit Carla. I brought your homework, stammered Via. Ever since Carla had gone to the hospital, Via had always been worried. I'm fine, assisted Carla as she took her homework gently. Carla hadn't had much of an appetite, so she mostly looked like a pile of skin and bones. How was your first day of school? Asked Carla. Good, said Via as she stared at the tubes coming from her best friend. Oh, and we're doing a school camping trip in Colorado. I told your mom when you were better you could come, Via yelled excitedly. I can't, cried Carla. The doctor said no travels for a year because I might have a breathing attack. Please, Mom, please, begged Carla as her mother filled the liquid IV bag later in the day. You can't, sweetie. You'll have a breathing attack, replied her mother, repeating the words that the doctor said like a parrot. At least a parrot could fly away, and all its worries would disappear at the tips of its wings. Don't worry, the medicine in the IV will make you fall asleep so you won't feel when we do the operation, said one of the surgeons cheesily. Carla thought to herself, I know, you told me this a gazillion times. But soon the room started spinning, and soon she fell into a deep sleep. When Carla woke up, a bright light shined in her eyes, but soon she could make out the figures of a doctor and 3 nurses. Now there were only 2 nurses, and no, one of the nurses was her mom. The room was still spinning while her mom said, "I'm sorry, sweetie. You for sure will not be going to the camping trip. You are getting way worse." "How?" yelled Carla as she tried to walk. "I've done everything you've told me." While she was in the hospital, she had held back every tear and kept it inside her beating heart. But now she cried. Her tears flooded the room, and her mother comforted her. "It's okay, sweetie." Later, Carla thought to herself, "I'm kind of being spoiled." She was eating ice cream and watching a movie. Just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. But the movie got softer and softer, and soon she fell asleep. Soon, when it was time to go to bed, Carla prayed harder than she had ever prayed before. Finally, when the lights went out and her mother kissed her on the head, "Good night, sweetie," she said as she closed the door. The next morning, Carla felt amazing. Sunshine came through her window. "Good morning, sugar," boomed her mother. She was reading in the chair by Carla's bed. "I feel great," yelled Carla as she hopped out of bed. She went for her daily checkup and evil IV. "Wow, you're getting much better. You'll be able to go on your camping trip after all," exclaimed Dr. Diamond. "Yay!" yelled Carla happily. She was excited as a kid on Christmas. "Now, Carla, we better pack. We are leaving the hospital first thing in the morning," beamed Mama. "Really? Do you mean it?" asked Carla excitedly. "Yes, of course," yelled Mama. Soon the car was packed and they were pulling away from the hospital parking lot forever. "We're almost home," said Mama later as she pulled into their street. It was October and the leaves were beautiful. They had all the fall colors you could imagine: red, orange, yellow, and brown. When she got to her house, Bia burst out the door and yelled, "Surprise!" The rest of the day, they played a lot. "This is the best day of my life," exclaimed Carla as she and Via walked down through the woods near her house. "These woods are pretty important to me. Lots of stuff has happened here," Carla thought to herself. "Race you back to the house," challenged Via. "You're wrong," Carla screamed back as she started to run. The leaves crunched beneath their feet as they ran back towards the house. When they got home, they panted as they tried to catch their breaths. Later that week, Via had come over again. "I can't believe our parents let us have a sleepover the night before camp," stated Via as she put 2 of her tie-dye shirts into her pink polka-dot suitcase. "Yeah, it's cool, right?" replied Carla as she stuffed her purple swimming suit in her solid blue suitcase. That night when they went to bed, they didn't sleep a wink, but they sure did talk a lot until Via's mom came in and told them to go to sleep. They didn't listen. The next morning, they got up early and went to the airport. "Bye, Mom," called Carla as she boarded the plane. "Wow, these chairs are comfy," said Via as she sank into one. "I know, right?" replied Carla. During the flight, Carla and Via played with the deck of cards they brought. "We are almost there," said the flight attendant on the intercom. Soon they were on different buses and on their way to the campgrounds. "Wow, these trees are beautiful," cried Carla to Via as they gazed out the bus window. Soon they were all settled in their cabin. Carla shared a cabin with Via, Sally, Nancy, and Sarah. She shared a bunk with Via, of course. "Sometimes I sleepwalk," stated Nancy, "but I hope I don't fall because I'm in one of the top bunks." Then she climbed into her bed. "Really, me too," exclaimed Carla as she started to unpack. "I talk in my sleep," stated Via as she collapsed on the blue blanket spread across her mattress. Then they all started laughing. Soon it was time to go to bed. But in the middle of the night, just as planned, Carla snuck out of bed and woke up the others. Earlier, they had planned to prank the camp counselor. "I got the honey," whispered Carla. "We got the shaving cream," stated Carla and Via together. "And me and Nancy have the silly string," said Sally. Soon they completed the setup of the prank without waking the counselor. "Now back to sleep," whispered Tara, mocking the counselor's firm voice. The next morning, when the counselor woke up, she had honey in her hair and shaving cream on her face. Then, waking up from their fake sleep, they sprayed her with the silly string. "We got you," chanted the girls together. "Yes, you did," said the counselor in a surprised voice. Later, as the girls cleaned up the mess from the rest of the camp went swimming. I don't think she was mad, said Nancy as she started to scrape the honey off the counselor's mattress. Really? She seemed pretty mad to me, replied Via. Well, she did have a little smile on her face. She thought it was funny, stated Tara. I agree with Tara, said Carla. Me too, said Sally. But it was worth it, all the friends exclaimed together. And little did she know Carla had started many new friendships. The end.
Good. And the name of it again?
It's just called Hope.
Hope.
I couldn't think of a better name. I'm just like,
Hope?
That's a good one.
okay.
Good job, Ken.
Thank you.
That's
How
not a
long did
story,
it
that's
take
a
you to
book.
write that?
That's a book. It took me, I think, 2 months.
2 months? You've been working on it?